Hi everybody, I hope I'm doing this right. Welcome to our first live Feltaholics tutorial. So we're going to start with some updates. So my shop is open in Etsy. Now, firstly, our blueberry, his colors has changed. And I actually like these colors better. So this is what you'll get in the kit for the colors. Secondly, lemon, wispy bits. Lemon will not have Angelina fibers in it, but she's just as beautiful. And thirdly, are known for the holidays in the shape of a candy cane where you could hang it on the tree. Once these kits are gone, they're gone. I will replace it with something else. So our Etsy shop is open. Secondly, sorry everybody, just a bit nervous. Secondly, let me see, the cats might be coming in and out. I'm not going to stop them, and you can say hello to them as they come up. Future for my shop, we're going to do some workshops for bigger things. Let's see what else. More mushrooms. Maybe I'll add another cow. We have bunnies coming and a couple of new Christmas ones coming and one for next month. So now I'm going to do this a bit different. So this is where the magic happens. Let's start with our kit. Today we're going to make this gnome ghost. Isn't he cute? He's so cute and he's so very simple. All these little eyes under there. He's so cute. So I'm just going to switch the camera around and we'll get started. Sorry everyone. Get some lights on. So let's do our unboxing. So as I always say, everything you need inside. Little thank you sticker on it. So let's pop that off. Wherever you want to pop it off. It is gorgeous. Remember, the pumpkins are not included. Look at this inside. You'll get the video tutorial for it. You just scan this. Everything goes in bags to be shipped in case it gets wet, and overseas delivery will be vacuum sealed. So inside you will get a fine felting needle and a medium felting needle, my business card, and a thank you for buying one of our kits, a 4x4 felt piece, your core wool, the black for the hat, the white for the body, and your foam mat. Now today I'm not going to use the foam mat because I have this one. So let's get started. So we're going to unroll it. Poof it up some. And this is so easy. Let me put them up here. we're just simply going to, let me just take camera, sorry. I'm just going to roll it up loosely. And we're going to felt it down. As you can find my shop on Etsy under Feltaholics. I thought 3 o'clock EST would be a good time, as not to compete with other ones, but when other ones have theirs at 2 and then suddenly have theirs at 3. But you can always watch this back. If you're in the chat and I have to peek over sometimes and watch my fingers, just say hello, where you're from if you're new to felting. Today we're making the gnome ghost for Halloween. Let me adjust it just a bit more. This is my first live video, so please bear with me. Hi, you're from Yorkshire. Hello. I hope the weather is nice there today. It's been cold here. We even got snow Sunday night, but today is nice and beautiful out. So when we get about halfway done with this form, we're just going to make the top just a little bit on an angle, and we're just going to roll it around and tap it in place. Excuse me. Cold and rainy as usual. Yeah, that's what it's been like here for the last few days. As my Aunt Joan comes from Yorkshire. Have you been needle felting very long, Margaret? Next, we're going to just flatten down the bottom just a little bit. We don't want it too firm. But we want the gnome to sit. Oh, hi, Sylvia, you made it. Thank you. Now, it's at this point, I should mention the cats might come in and out. One of the kittens, she decided that she's going to venture up and down the stairs, and then she'll come in here. Makes me worried. They're like 14 steps, and she's very little. But she maneuvers them really well. I'm glad to have everybody. Thank you. I do some crocheting. My aunt taught me how to crochet when I think I was like 11 years old. My mother could knit. She could knit anything, but I cannot knit. I can knit simple things like scarves. Oops. But I drop stitches for some reason, and I don't know why I do it. Okay, so I'll give it a little roll. This will also firm it up inside out and smooth the outside out. So next we're going to take this white core wool and we're going to cover the top. Now this is roving, so we're going to do it in sections. So we're just going to take a little piece, and what we're going to do is smooth it out because the natural oils in your hands will smooth it out. And we're going to wrap it from bottom to top. Excuse me. So I like to strike it through to keep it in place. And then we're just going to slowly roll it around and around until it's all covered. And you don't need to do this with the white core wool. Or excuse me, the white roving wool. If you're fine with the off-white in the core wool, that's fine too. It's your project. Our Caledonia Wool Company, our friend Jam, she does amazing 2D pictures. So you could check that out, Margaret. Just beautiful. So what I have planned for future for my shop is I will, excuse me, I'm sorry, everybody. My allergies are acting up today just because the wind is blowing. It's really nice out, but the wind is blowing. So future projects, I will do some pictures. I was just working on a 2D, 3D picture this week. I can give everybody a sneak peek if they like. Oh, yeah, okay. Margaret, sorry. So this gnome ghost is really easy, as you see, because we're a quarter of the way done already. So my week has been interesting. So for the past 2 weeks, I have did all the what I assumed was the last minute things for the Etsy shop. Then last week, I'm going to order some more supplies just in case. And then without any word, let me just this microphone. My supplier is going to go out of business. Didn't tell anybody, but luckily I got on it fast enough where I have 2 new suppliers now. And apparently, from what people tell me, it's an issue with suppliers. ordering foam mats and getting sponges, kitchen sponges. I don't recommend them at all. Now with this new supplier, she may be able to get me some dryer balls. I know a lot of people are interested in the pumpkins, and I wasn't going to make that into a kit. But we'll see what happens if she can get me a good deal on dryer balls. Okay. This is a 42 twisted triangle. Let me hold this up for you. I'll twist it, see? Yeah, they hurt more than usual if you poke your fingers. So these are for sculpting. Now for 3D, or excuse me, for 2D felting, the small, medium, and large needles are easy. Ignore that, that's my nail. Oh yeah, I suppose it's almost the same color. Yeah, I do apologize. My nails are a bit of a mess. I'm getting ready for winter here. And most of my nails are broken because everything has to get put up and put in the shed, and lawnmower goes up. I don't get rid of the leaves that I have on the yard because that's really good fertilizer for your yard, and our ladybugs will hide underneath them and hibernate for the winter. And it's a really good excuse not to have to mow the lawn again. I have 11 acres here and I have to mow 4 of it. So we're going to strike it through again, hold it in place, and then we're going to go round and round. Where I live way out in the country in a very rural area. So you have to be self-reliant when the winter comes, have a generator, because the power does go out, and I have propane heat. See, I grew up on a farm, a milk farm, where we had a wood stove and a wood furnace. So if the power went out, it wasn't a big deal. You didn't get cold because you still had the wood furnace. Yes, we had 500 cows, so it was 250 in the morning and 250 at night. But I was very little, age-wise, so I wasn't allowed up at the barn without my parents or one of my siblings. But we did the small animals like the chickens and the ducks. I'm sure that's where my love of animals comes from. So my other work is I do animal research and I'm independent. So if you hear Jam and I talking about trips and things, yeah, that's why, because I travel all over. So recently, I was just a few hours from here. I went over to the States, like I said, because it's just a couple of hours. Because I was hearing rumors of wolves in the Adirondacks in, New York State. So we went over there and looked, And I was there for 4 days, and you could really hear them hollering at night, but they were not wolves, and they weren't coyotes. They were coy wolves. So coy wolves are, if you don't know, it's a mix between a wolf and a coyote, and they were really big. I actually casted a footprint, and they didn't yip and they didn't really holler. So that's what that was. And then when you tell the forestry, Fish and Game about it, well, they don't want to believe you unless you got pictures. So, and I use night vision cameras. I have them all over the place. I put out camera traps. And I still didn't get them. But I'll try again. It was really cold. And that was September. And it was cold, and I'm still surprised that it was cold. So once you have all of this covered, remember you have more time than I do. Get this down, get rid of some of these lines. Well, that's a nice idea. Something you could do together, Sylvia. My sister, she likes the things that I make. She does some crafts. She does some crocheting, and she does cross stitch, and she makes blankets. And she usually makes all the blankets for the new babies. I have a very large family. There's 5 of us, sorry, 5 of us. And I have, see, this is me losing count of how many there are. 13 nieces and nephews. So we're just going to roll this very gently in our hand again to smooth that down. At this point, you could either make the feet or the hat. So we'll just set that little guy aside. So we're going to get out the black woven wool. So we're going to pull off 2 strands. 1, 2, and these are going to be for his boots. For his little boots here. Now, usually we would add core wool for the boots, but because there's enough, we're just going to roll that up and then do a fold over. Keep it in place. And if you're having a bit of trouble, just go through it. Roll it up again and tuck it. Yeah, this Band-Aid on my finger is not from poking my finger. It's just that time of the year. Thanks everybody for coming in. So we're just going to poke it through. But if I poke my finger again, I will put finger guards on. So you've heard Jam and I talk about finger guards. I actually have some here. So one will go over your finger, the other one over your thumb. So I'll just use those. So it's like a flat, symmetrical shape, flat loaf of bread. I do some sewing on the sew machine. I've made a couple of skirts, but they're kind of like making a pillowcase with a hole in both ends. I have problems with pockets. So we don't want these firm, but we want them semi-firm, which is little smooshy, because we're going to attach them to the bottom. One. Well, something for your wool, because now it's that time of the year when things start to get dry, is the silicone beads that come in a package. They work great in your wool, so your wool doesn't get fuzzy. I'm about to put the finger guards back on because I'm trying to look at your chat. And not poke my fingers. I have, how many grandkids do I have now? I have 5. I have 3 adult kids. So I have got 5 grandkids. I don't get to see the girls that often. But I get to see my grandson every week. He's not quite 2 years old yet. He's a little character. Of course, his favorite word now is no. Shakes his head no. Everything is no. And funny, his first word was kitty. And then he learned a bad word. It was the S word. Didn't learn that from me. You know, when you get little kids around who mind what you say, and it's just automatic when you're used to kids. It was a friend of my son's. So we just kind of, when he says it, we just kind of ignore it. The novelty will wear off of him saying it. It was funny the first time because you're like, what'd you just say? And then he said it, and I was like, oh. And then we go on, try not to laugh or let him see you laugh, because then it's funny and then you'll do it again. Okay, so we got both of the little boots made. Just set them aside. Now, okay, next is the little felt sheet. So what we're going to do is like this here. We're just going to lay it over top. Just lay it right on down. It is so cute already. And however you want to lay the sheet, whether it be corner or sideways, just lift it up and mark where you want the eyes are going to be. And I like to use a pencil because a pencil will wipe off. So we'll say we want it here and here. I'm going to line it up. So I'm going to do it this way. Line it up. So we want here and here. And then we're just going to snip a couple of holes. And for felting, these sewing scissors are great because they're great little nippers. And you can adjust these circles. Once it's lined up for good. Cheat. Go line that up. I'm going to take a little bit of a black. I'd like to do this before the hat. Then you can line the hat up really well. If I get off camera, I apologize. A friend of mine in the States, she's very much into the 2D felting too. And is asking me, when are you going to do a 3D felting kit? I'm like, soon. Soon. I recently just met her. When did I meet her? July, I think. Here's a funny story. So, just before I come home on the trips, because I'm out in the woods, on a mountain, in a field, wherever it is, I come back filthy dirty. So I'm going to stay in a hotel so I can get cleaned up before I come back home. So she's only 15 minutes away from the hotel that I was staying at. So she comes over, and a friend of ours had given us alpaca hair, raw alpaca hair. And she wants to spin it. And she's never spinned before on a drop spindle. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to be here at such and such a time. Come on over and I'll show you how to do it. So she comes over, and yeah, she picked up on spinning really fast on a drop spindle. She brings this a tub of the alpaca hair with her. So after all that, and I'm outside, out in the hallway, and I'm talking to the lady at the desk, and she's looking at me funny, and I'm like, okay, she's thinking about all that hair that got brought in. And she thought it was people hair, and we were going to cut each other's hair in the hotel room. But we come out with no hair. So it kind of weirded her out. So I explained to her, no, this was alpaca hair, and I was teaching my friend how to spin. But it was funny because the look on her face was, she was just weirded out by it. But I'm sure when you work in a hotel, you see all kinds of odd things and just kind of let it go. Kids are funny. Okay, let's get this in a little bit more. There we go. Kids and animals. I'm surprised that Oliver hasn't been up here yet. If you watch the pumpkin video, he's the gray and white cat. He's a good size. Considering he's only 13 months old and the size of a regular cat. So all my cats are rescues. And Oliver, my son, was on his way to visit me one Sunday. I think a little bit less. And he found Oliver just up the road from here, sitting in the middle of the road. That's why I call him the hitchhiker. He was a tiny little thing. He had a rough start, but he's very independent. Now he's as big as a full-grown cat. And smart, he carries things around. So the 4 kittens that I have now, my son also found them at one of his work sites. They just got their first round of shots this week. No, end of last week. And they're growing good. I had to bottle feed them. They were only 2 weeks old. Bottle fed them for a while. So they're just starting to get so they're not gorging on their food. But I said, unless it's an emergency, I'm full. I'm all full up. I now have 8 cats. There we go. Now we can line that up. Remember, you can take the time to make the eyes different however you like. So we're just going to poke it in with pencil again. There we go. Do a little bit more trimming. I'll show everyone what I keep my needles in here in a second. Of course, the live show, right, and it's giving me a hard time. So Oliver likes to come up here and he'll lay across this mat. He's a cat. He likes attention. And he'll get into things. And he carries things and he'll steal things. It's funny, but not funny. And he will take my felting needles. Because he'll pick them up on this end and carry them around like this, which is dangerous. And I used to have them under here, and he would stretch his legs out and then break my needles. So I said, well, I need something where he can't get at, and he's not going to stretch his legs out. There we go. I can adjust that a bit more in a minute. That's just neat. So now you can start the hat or put the feet on, but we're going to move on to the hat. So again, we're going to spread this. Who was in his underwear? Oh, okay, I see. So for his hat, it will be round with a cone. So let's do a quick measurement here. So your hat will be give or take 2 inches around. Now you can either make one this size or 2 small ones with what I give you in the kit. So we're going to flatten it down a little bit and then we're going to build up around it. And I'm felting right into the mat. So mats pretty much are what you would use so when you're poking through, your needle don't hit the table and break, but it can be a tool as well. So this pad is just a simple laundry pad. I just like it because it's really large and I have a big desk. So all of the kits that I make them so that anyone can do them, really easy to follow. So this is my first live show, so I did expect some kind of chaos. It's nice that the cats haven't come up and thrown everything around. I do have two cats in here. Katara, she's sleeping over there on the floor. She's huge. She's part Maine Coon, so she's huge. She's also getting very old. And she has a touch of arthritis in her hips. She was getting shots for that, but she had an allergic reaction to the shots, and she started to break out in a rash. That's too bad because it did help her. So now I'm thinking acupuncture. She's not mean, but she is temperamental. Okay, so we're just going to work this into a circle. I'm going to pull it up and flip it over. Now I'm going to put finger guards on. And Pip, she just showed up here one day at my back door. She was about 4 weeks old. And I saw her outside, and I just went out and grabbed her. She's a black and white tuxedo. She's not a people cat. She's not mean. So what we're going to do is just felt this into a circle. Yeah, she's not mean. It's just that she's not people friendly. She also has a thyroid disorder, so it makes her act weird, sensitive. I did just lose a cat about a month ago. She's orange and white. Her name was Tika. And she wasn't feeling well. And I thought maybe she had a kidney or urinary tract infection. And I took her to the vet. And they didn't know because nothing was coming up in the tests. She actually went up to a special animal hospital in Ottawa. That's our capital. And she was up there for 2 weeks before they figured out what was wrong with her. She had some feline something or other. Or she wasn't eating or anything like this. And did all kinds of tests on her. And when she finally started eating, I waited a few days because Tiki's friendly and she was going around talking to all the other animals, I guess. But once she was feeling better, I said, okay, time for her to come home. And the vets agreed, and she died on me on the way home. But she was fine, and then she wasn't. Oh, it's still rather sad. And nobody can tell me what happened. I have an idea of what happened. Okay, so once we get the base made, and you see it's pretty much a circle, and you can work on this a little bit to get it the full circle. Oh, thank you, Sylvia. Yeah, I love my animals. They're like my extra kids. You know, anyone who loves animals like we all do, I mean, it's always hard. So we're going to work on the base of the hat. So we're going to just roll this up. much like the boots. And again, we're going to form the base that this is going to wrap onto. So fold this in half. I stick it right on there. And we're going to felt it directly into the middle of the hat. And again, if you have a different way of doing this, go ahead and do that. So just work our way up, 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 up. As long as the base is down, this here will firm up. I have a really nice snowman project for next month. Yeah, but it's always hard when you lose a pet. Because there are families. I wouldn't have brought her home if she still wasn't well. And this hospital was really good. I mean, she had a candy striper of her very own. So I'm sure she would have loved that. Giving her treats and combing her and spending time with them so they don't get lonely by themselves in cages. So it's a newer hospital and they treat animals with cancer. It is. And when you have animals of any kind, your house isn't as quiet. Even if it's birds, your house actually feels empty if you don't have pets. And some people like that. I don't like the quiet. So here where I'm at, I have coyotes. And they'll come really close to the house. And they will rip and yip, and you can't hear the TV over there ripping. And this is funny, and people think I'm crazy. So I'll go at my back door and just tell them to shut up. And they'll quiet down. The second year that I lived here, so I have a back deck or porch. And I was back there. And I was trimming the lilac trees. And one of these coyotes comes from this way, like right beside my house, just right there, you know, not 20 feet from the deck. And I was like, what are you doing up in here? You better get back in the woods. Stops, looks at me, goes back into the woods. But I've seen them on my trail cameras, because I have trail cameras all over on my property. And I don't know how they survive, because I've never seen them catch anything. Well, a duck one time. A duck. They'd gotten a duck, because I have a creek back there. And I have these two big, beautiful foxes. And they're always catching things. And fishers. You might have heard me talking about the fishers before. They're called fisher cats, but they're not cats. They're cousin to a wolverine, and they're black. And I've seen one here huge. Okay, so the first one I seen was about 10 years ago. I'm living here and I just happened to look out my kitchen window and it was in the winter. And I saw this big black fur ball pretty much hanging off of a tree, and I'm looking because everything is just black and white anyway. And I'm looking because I'm pretty sure this has moved. And it moved. And I'm like, is that a bear? No, because bears are sleeping. But it's the biggest fisher I've ever seen. It was huge. Now, I have a small female fisher that comes around in the winter every year. I don't mess with them because they can be nasty. They've been known to attack people here. And they've got peg teeth, so mouthful of sharp little teeth. But she didn't seem to be too bad. So I was out one day, and this is a few years ago, getting my trail cameras. And she just walked right out in front of me, and I froze. I was thinking, uh-oh. But she just went right on, didn't bother with me. Now that big one, yeah, I wouldn't mess with that one. I also have, what else do I have here? Back at the creek, there are 2 beavers, an otter, and I've seen a marten, which is like a little wild little ferret. The otters are always funny because they'll play out on the ice. Okay, so now we're going to keep building up the hat. So I know it's dark and you can't see it, but there is this like a peg, starting to have a peg. So we're just going to build that up. This is probably the longest part. Just wrap it and keep working on it. Now for the gnomes, the Valentine gnome made from a dryer ball. This is pretty much the same process. So you have your dryer ball and you just build up on it. Let me check and see who just came in. Oh, Pip went out. Trying to keep it here and look over and read your messages. Thank you again for joining me. So we're just going to keep this from the white, building it up and up and up. So now we're nearly up. So I'm just going to do quick cheating here, but hopefully you get the basic idea of how to build up. I have a short cone. Again, with anything else, if you have a different way of doing this, go ahead and do that. So this one will have to have a bit of a short top on it. I said that the hat is probably takes the longest. So I did consider doing this tomorrow on Halloween, but Grandma's been requested to go out trick-or-treating. And nothing scary. So it'll be like no makeup, no mask, but an outfit. Because I don't want to scare my grandson. Okay, we'll just smooth that down. Okay, so then we're going to put the boots on. So there'll be more here at the front, so you still have this to sit on. Or if I go off camera. Okay, now that it's in place, you can just poke and stab right on through. I don't know if it's, yeah, it's a little bit bigger than the other, but we can fix that later. Go. Now that we got the boots on, we just go right on ahead. We just felt that hat down right on top. And we'll adjust the eyes. You'll have to give it a really good stab to get it in there. I wouldn't mind having kids come out here. I'm too far out. I do got all the Halloween decorations and everything. Even got a werewolf. It's in the hallway right now. There we go. There we go. And so then we'll fold it a little bit, or you can trim it however you want to do it. And because this is felt, like everything else, you can just poke it in place. There you go. So this is what you're supposed to end up with, and this is what you'll end up with if you've got time to do it. Oh, excuse me. I put myself on a time limit. So you can adjust these things, like I said, but it's just so cute. And hopefully I'll get better time management for next time. So, and I said I was going to give you a quick peek. It's something I was working on. Okay, let me grab it. Curl up in my chair. Yeah, he's cute. Like I said, work on him a bit more, and maybe by the next time I can get my time management skills better. Okay, so here's a quick peek on something I'm working on. I have to raise the camera. There we go. So he is a 2D, 3D, and he does puff up, and he does have shinies in him. And a pom-pom, and plastic eyes, and this cute little nose. But he's still a work in progress. But it will give you some ideas of something you could do at home for yourselves. If I can get him down pat and exactly how I like, I can make him in a kit. Oh, thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. I have to tell you, I was really nervous about doing a live podcast today, but my shop is open, so over in the Etsy shop. So, well, I've been trying to do this for almost 3 years. Well, I guess it would be 3 years this month. So, and it's nice to felt and just let the world go by because everything is just hectic and busy right now. So, and that was part of the reason I decided to do a business because I enjoy it so much. And I was like, okay,